Well, let's return now to this year's race for the American presidency and, of course, tonight's New Hampshire primaries. Joining us from Washington is the Democratic strategist Bob Weiner, a veteran of Bill Clinton's White House. Thank you for being with us, Bob. Hillary Clinton is in New Hampshire and she is trailing someone who was an unknown independent senator from Vermont a few months ago. What's gone wrong?
Well, you're right, Adam. It's exploded into a movement for Bernie, and Hillary has got to be quite careful that it doesn't expand past Bernie's neighboring state of Vermont, where he's now campaigning in New Hampshire. So it's very possible that Hillary will lose by a significant margin today in New Hampshire. But when you get to South Carolina and beyond and into Super Tuesday, she's got a wide and diverse constituency that's far beyond the millennials, which she would love to have, but Bernie has captured them.
But, I mean, if she's badly defeated, if he's 10, 20, 30 points ahead, that really is going to put a hole in her campaign, isn't it?
Well, you've stated the range. And that's exactly what it's going to be, is 10, 20, or 30. A huge victory would be less than 10. Expected is somewhere in the 20s, and 30 would be a big... But I don't think the number matters, to be honest. I think a loss is a loss. And she won Ohio by that much, but she won, Iowa, she won it. And she goes on now to South Carolina, and then Super Tuesday, Nevada, and all of those states. So I think that she'll be all right. I actually think that it's going to be fine for her, and I think it will be like losing the first 2 games of the World Series and then you win the next 4, and I think it's going to be something like that, Adam.
On the other hand, if you drill down into how people are voting on the Democratic side, it does seem that she has a fairly widespread problem with younger women who might have been expected to come to her support.
Well, I think they still will. And, I don't want to say that the issues trump Bernie's extreme positions on things, but there's no way, and women must realize that we're going to go back to recapturing the debate on health care, which is what Bernie wants to do. That would be a disaster, and it would allow all the special interests to get back into it. So Hillary's philosophy of bringing 90% to 100% coverage and doing it with the Affordable Care Act as the base is the right one. And she is much broader than Bernie is on so many issues, on minorities, on women's rights, where she said women's rights are human rights, on African-American issues and Black Lives Matter, and on guns, where it boggles my mind that liberals would go for a guy, to be honest with you, Adam, who voted 5 times against the Brady bill and in favor of immunity for gun manufacturers. How do you do that when mass killings have exploded in the United States and half of them are with assault weapons that could be banned? How do you do that? So I think she's got a lot of good issues that will come further and further front for her. And certainly the debate that we have on our side, Adam, I've got to say, is so much better than the one on the Republican side, where the lead candidate is off the wall on so many issues.
Well, I was going to ask you about that because who does Hillary Clinton, let's say it's going to be her, who does she want to fight on the Republican side? Because isn't there a danger that if one of these extreme candidates, a Trump or a Cruz, gets the nomination, then we're going to see former Mayor Bloomberg coming into the race, and that would make it very tricky for her?
I don't think, and he actually said that he's not likely to come in if Hillary is the nominee on the Democratic side. I think he's looking at a protector against a Bernie versus Trump as the race. And Trump wants him. Oh, man, Trump is asking for him this morning on American TV. Trump was saying, my friend Bloomberg, I want him in. Sure he does, because he will chip away and take a lot of Hillary's support because he's liberal on choice and he's liberal on guns. So, of course, Trump wants him in. But the fact is that I don't think that for that very reason, I don't think that Bloomberg is going to go in if Hillary is the nominee. And I think that will become clear by Super Tuesday.
So therefore, she does want one of the extremists on the Republican side to get the nomination.
Well, be careful what you wish for, because, it still is a dangerous race with Trump, despite his dissing Muslims and women and voter suppression and saying no minimum wage. Despite all of that, he's created a movement on trade and jobs in Mexico and China and all of those things. There's a message there. So this nativism that he has put forward is dangerous, and I don't take Trump lightly at all. I think he will be, even though he's 15 points behind the Democrats now, I think what he did to brilliantly capture, when I think he will, the Republican nomination, I think he will flip on a dime and become more sensitive, more centrist as the general election approaches. Cruz, I think, his lying and his stealing the Carson votes by saying that Carson dropped out was unconscionable, and he lost a lot. Rubio, I think, with repeating the same phrase 5 times and everybody making fun of it, and now he's being called Robio instead of Rubio, I think that puts him out of it. I think Kasich actually has a shot at it, Adam. I think Christie has a shot at it. And I think some of the others, Jeb even now has a little bit of a shot at it, although to have the Bush baggage of Iraq and the economic crashes.
You're going for Clinton, Trump as the most likely pair of finalists in the American presidential race. Bob Weiner, thank you very much indeed for talking to us.